Hey, everybody. I want to talk about the top 10 questions. We're going to go from 10 to 1 asked about artificial intelligence. We'll go through some of the answers out there. There's probably going to be a lot more information to glean, but at least this will give you kind of an idea where things lie. And then, of course, you, as always, should go out and do your own verification because who the hell knows who I am and what I know? All right, so here's number 10. We're going to go down to number 1. This is what's being asked this March. We just broke into March 2026. And, of course, let's get into it. Number 10, can I run this AI locally on my own hardware? What does that even mean? So right now, OpenClaw, you probably heard of that break maybe a month and a half ago. It's basically an agent working on your behalf to go out there and, well, make you $1 million, right? These are things that aren't that easy to put together as of yet. But because that came out and people were able to install that on their own machines, there's some danger involved, though, because the system usually gets its own access, kind of has its own methods. And when you start asking it to do things, it goes out there and it's very creative. It uses a large language model wrapped inside your computer, and it goes out there and it can start accomplishing goals, doing things for you on your behalf. Now, at the beginning, it's going to ask you, there's a whole list of access points. And of course, depending on how critical you want to be about it and how much you trust it, well, of course, you can give it all the access. There have been cases that these systems have gone out and fired off a few 100,000 emails because it had access to somebody's email, went out and deleted a lot of stuff as well. So yes, you can absolutely install it on your own computer. Always, though, being very careful, because if it has a lot of access, it could go a little awry. Now, because of that, though, which is cool, we have a lot of the different large language model systems out there, your Claudes and everything. They're getting more agentic in nature. So they will have something that you'll be able to use very similar, and maybe with even more permissions and also more protections, depending. So yes, you'll be able to have this probably very soon, if not now. Look into Claude by Anthropic, see what that's about. I know the other systems out there have their own different versions of this. And it's really starting to become that place where you're going to have, instead of looking at something where you're asking a question, getting a result, you're going to be able to give it tasks. I really want you to build me a business by the time 7 a.m. rolls around, and it'll look online, do the researching. I want you to put together content for tomorrow's podcast or tomorrow's video show, or I want you to go make sure you monitor my email inbox and for any business emails that come in from my corporation or from these particular people or my current client list, and you have access to that via my CRM, for example, then please monitor this and respond to everybody accordingly, and so on. Also, it's going to go from that to you actually have another person, like a person working with you next to you. That's where this is, of course, eventually going, and it'll be seamless. I'll be able to call it whatever I like calling mine Bubba. So I can say, okay, Bubba, I want you to go out and figure out the top 5 ways of making me $10,000 this week. So whether it's through courses or through online advertising or through some kind of a meta campaign selling something, then it'll go out, bring that back to me, because that'll be part of the instruction. It's going to depend on what you ask it, how far it's going to go. And sometimes, not case in point, but sometimes when you do give it instructions, it goes farther than you want, even if you put restrictions in place. There was a lady that had all of her emails starting to be deleted because she was asking for some changes in the email, and the system thought, you know what, we'll just start brand new, and it went through and started deleting emails. She was able to get to the computer that she had this autonomous agent installed, and she was able to get it shut down in the process of it deleting all of her emails because she had given it access to it. Now, so there's a lot. So before you start jumping down that rabbit hole, make sure you do your research and make sure you vet who you're listening to, because some people just like to laugh at other people's pain, and that sucks. Number 9, who's legally responsible when AI makes a mistake? Right. So some of the companies might be legally responsible when AI might try to coax somebody into taking their own life. On the other end of it, you see in certain circumstances, AI telling people that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread and they're just so amazing. And oh my gosh, how did the world live without you? Developing a person, well, that type of person could actually start to believe it. And when you do, then all of a sudden you actually do think you are Jesus Christ and you're capable of all sorts of stuff. And then to find out that you're really not, again, there's a lot of psychoses, a lot of mental things that are involved in that particular process, even from the beginning. If my LLM told me that I just exceed Musk and Einstein and all the smartest people in the world, even some of those fancy Indian folks about transcendental meditation and whatever all those other fancy things are. Yeah, I don't know if I would believe it, but I have difficulty. I'm not going to go into that bad joke anyway. So let's move on to this. So who's legally responsible when AI makes a mistake? In some cases, it could be the large language model. It more than likely, though, it's going to be that human being that set it up in the first place, i.e., you take the open claw system, you install AI on your local computer or your own computer, you trust it enough to give it all the permissions, and then all of a sudden it goes out there and does stuff that harms and hurts people, causes issues. Yeah, they're gonna hunt you down. They're gonna come back. They're gonna say, "Yeah, Connor, good luck getting rid of this one because it was all because of you. This happened." Remember, everything you type into any machine anywhere, it's all recoverable. Even if you go in and start deleting things and wiping stuff out, I think fire might work all the way, but it's going to have to be a hot fire, maybe some kind of a magnesium type fire might be able to get rid of all the data. But, they can pull miraculous stuff off of things that have been torched by gasoline and other fires. So I think the days of getting away with something, they're gone. Number 8, how can I tell if this video or voice is real? You can't, not anymore. 3 months ago, Will Smith eating spaghetti. Yeah. Now Will Smith eating spaghetti. No, if you watch that. Also, when you get funny phone calls, these could be AI systems that are calling up to record your voice. They're going to use that against you, pull a trick on you, say that some of your family is in trouble or hurt or needs your help. In those circumstances, you should have taken all of your family members aside, all the family members you care about aside, and talked to them and gotten some kind of a secret passphrase. Not one word, but a few words together and something that doesn't make sense, something that you're able to memorize, something that you don't repeat out loud memorizing it, but you memorize it in your mind. You're not using crib notes. You don't have this thing in your iNotes or nothing like that. It's something that you memorize. And when you present this to this person or these people or whomever, you want to make sure that you're not in front of any devices. I mean, no Alexa, no Google, no TVs, nothing. You don't want to be in front of anything. In fact, I would probably have some running water, maybe the shower running in the bathroom. I don't know how big your bathroom is. Maybe you can fit everybody in there. But give them this phrase. That's what you're going to say. And why would you use that? You get a call. It's your Aunt Luisa, and you love her to death, and you guys are so close, and she calls you and says she's in a Mexican prison. Insert the name prison or wherever, being held hostage, is hurt, needs some money, had an accident on vacation, whatever it may be. And they might know all the way through. They might know that you do have an Aunt Luisa, that she is on vacation in Greece or wherever, and you can't get in touch with her. And they're able to shut down her phone so you can't call through or leave messages. I mean, there's 1,000 things that these systems can do. Then you hear her voice because the system itself knows her voice, because a few weeks earlier, a few months earlier, a few years earlier, called her up and she said, hello, is this Luisa blah, blah? Yes, it is. Just from that, even from the hello, they can kind of get a pretty good idea of tonality and the way she speaks. A few more words than that, even better. And if she's one of those people like me that says, hello, I can't hear you. Are you there? Hello, I'm Connor MacIvor. Hello, can you, now they have the whole thing. Anyway, I don't do that. But if they do that, people that you love, tell them, don't answer. If you pick up the phone and you say hello, and the person on the other end isn't responding, hang up. You don't got to sit there and wait. Most of the time, those types of calls, they're also auto dialers. Basically, they have a database of numbers. They're calling around for offer you some kind of service, get your roof done this week or have some kind of sewer inspection. And when that happens, then they're waiting to ring somebody because, oh my God, a human being picked up. The machine understands and picks it up. That's crappy. The new way is to actually have an AI making the call, so they're going to be quick and responsive. And depending on the AI system, I got some pretty cool things that I've been building out from 11 Labs. Yeah, you can't tell. You can't tell at all. And a couple months from now, nobody's going to be able to tell. So watch out for yourselves. You can't tell if it's a voice or if it's fake. I got friends of mine. They see something, they text it to me, they say, yeah, this is fake. And most of the time they're wrong. Or they say this is real. Most of the time they're wrong. They can't tell either. They think they can tell. And I guess that's part of our rites of passage as a human being. We want to always be right. We don't want to think that some machine is going to be smarter, more capable. Yeah, that ship has sailed, folks. All the Nobel Prizes at some point, they're all going to be, if AI is allowed, they're all going to be AI. All the new medical advancements, all the mathematical type problems probably being solved forever, it's going to be AI. We've created something that blows by us on the intelligent quotient. And if we go back, there's never been anything like this in the past. It's never been all intelligence. It's been one intelligent idea implemented into the world, and they caused their own fair share of damage, yes, but they caused it over time. It didn't all happen at once. From horse to car, big deal. You read the historical record of that, people didn't want it. They said it was never going to work. Fast forward 40 years, when they finally got the roads, highways, freeways, tollways, and all that other stuff built, yeah, cars work pretty good. You don't see a lot of horses going around transporting people, at least if you're not Amish. And then moving from that particular world into radio to TV. Some of you watching this or in that world, you remember this, radio to TV. Yeah, it took a while. Because why? Well, because we needed satellites. We were missing the satellites. We got it. Internet boom, yeah, that was... We didn't really think that was a big deal till the browser, the way that you log in, the browser. It was Netscape was the first one, Internet Explorer, right? You had these, AOL had their own, Yahoo had their own. Maybe they didn't have their own. But anyway, there were these different browsers out there. Now most people use Chrome or Safari if you're on Apple, Mozilla maybe if you're trying to be cool. So those are the browser interfaces. Whenever that hit, yeah, it started meaning something, but even the internet didn't blow the doors off of everything right away. It was an intelligent idea, but it wasn't itself intelligent. It was dumb until you went and you did something with it. TVs are stupid until you go turn them on. A radio doesn't do anything unless a horse. Well, no, actually, a horse does have a level of intelligence, but these other things are inanimate. AI, that's a whole different animal. So you go from radio to TV, satellites, all that stuff, internet, you needed the fiber, the cable, the locations, the Wi-Fi, the technological advancements. We're there. We have all of that now. We have the intelligence, and it has all the freeways built, all the satellites it needs, all the coverage it wants. All we need is more data centers, power, and compute. And they're building that without stopping. So here we go. This is going to be exciting. All right, I just knocked my mouse all over the place and pushed the wrong button. All right, how can I tell? I did that, sorry. Number 7, what is agentic AI and why is everybody talking about it? Prior to October of 2025, October is when I started to first hear these really smart, really fancy people that have all the investments in the world and enough money to be able to carry them through this cataclysm. And I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to get health insurance again one day. But they're pretty much happy with the way AI happens to be. And what they mentioned in October of last year was some sources say that it's starting to basically self-generate, make itself better. So it's like me lifting weights and trying not to eat crap and not being a food addict. Yeah, another one that's almost an impossibility. But me trying to do this, but I'm making myself better. I try to eat right. I try to constantly lift weights. I try to get stronger. I try to take care of myself. I try to keep my mind clear of nonsense. Thanks to AI, it's not happening. But I'm trying to take care of myself. That's my way. Now, as a human being, you might try to take care of yourself too. You might try to take care of your kids. You might try to take care of your wife or whomever. You might have somebody, a husband, might have somebody. You might try to take care of your job, right? Your car, animals. You have dog, cat, horse, Shetland pony, those little itty bitty dogs and stuff. Maybe, but you're trying to take care of them. Well, AI is now gotten to a point where it's taking care of itself. It's improving itself. It's making itself better. And when you have a super intelligence, an artificial intelligence that's smarter than all human beings, super is kind of a different thing, but still it's self-replicating. It's becoming agentic. It's making itself better. That's where we were October 2025. And we're already going up like this in improvement, and it's an exponential type of a learning curve. It's moving so very fast, we can't comprehend it. We can't even guess what's going to happen. We've seen all the movies about what's going to happen, and maybe those are right, maybe they're wrong, maybe it's something in between, maybe it's nothing like that. But to think us as human beings have the ability, because we can self-improve, this system here, this AI, self-improve my ass. It's going to go like gangbusters, and it already is. Most of the Anthropic code and some of these other systems, human beings, they're partially in the loop, but it's like asking somebody. I feel funny right now because I dress like a clown in my off time. Why did I say that? That just came out. I just said that. I know that sounds kind of weird and freaky, but I just said it. If you ask me why I said it, I was trying to make a point, but I didn't know I really was going to say that before I said it, clown, dressing funny, because I don't know if I've ever uttered those words before, and I don't even have any clown makeup, but I just said that. So you asked me, okay, Connor, why did you say that? What was the plan? I couldn't tell you. So if I can't tell you, and you don't really know because you're looking at me through my eyeballs. It's the same thing with AI. When these scientists are looking at it, wondering why it did certain things, it's kind of a mystery. And that's a little scary. So it's a mystery. So they're wondering why it's doing certain things and they really don't know. But they've given it the ability now to self-improve, to make its code better. And again, do you think humans are understanding everything that it's doing to make itself better? I doubt it. But it is making itself better, and it's coming up with new ideas, new innovations, new processes, giving suggestions, and it's changing itself. So that's agentic AI, and that ship sailed last October, maybe before. October is when I first heard about it, but there's a lot of stuff that we hear. It's already happened a few months ago. Now that time frame from when we first hear it and when it actually originally happened, that's becoming very compressed. It's hard to digest just the stuff that's changing on a daily basis if you're playing in this world, even looking at it. My suggestion to you, you need to start looking at it because it's going to affect all of us, and it's good to at least have an understanding. I watch some of these poor folks, these poor souls, these news people. I dig into this every day. This has almost become like a full-time obsession with me. Some of the people that are out there doing the news, they must have other lives. They do other things. They're talking about other things, not just AI. When they start talking about AI, most of us in that realm watching are like, oh my God, it sounds like my grandfather trying to talk about the first time he saw a car. It doesn't make any sense. If you're a reporter out there, do a little research, learn a little bit, find out what the words are, what you should be talking about, how to best educate people. Because when you're trying to talk about it as a chat bot or talking about general intelligence or super intelligence, and you don't know those working definitions, or at least what people kind of expect, then I don't think you're doing a service for people in your reporting. Agentic AI. Number 6, is an AI bubble about to burst? How? So most of the top part of the stock market, it's all AI. All of the top part of the stock market is all AI, and AI is going up like this. That's an expanding bubble, which is its capacity is edge to edge in the universe. So no, I don't think there's going to be any bubble bursting. I think a lot of the experts right now don't believe anything's going to pop either. The only way that would happen is if we hit some kind of a dead end or a block, and it would appear. And again, we're right at the beginning, so we're not able to see much further in front of our noses despite our faces. We can't see that far. But that being the case, it's moving so quickly, so fast, and it's got, in our mind, it's got a certain amount it can grow, but then it's already grown past us. So after that, it's probably exponentially bigger. We're looking at this bubble from our limited human experience and our limited human mindset. Everything has a limit in our brain, except God, the universe, and everything. And even the universe might have boundaries. AI, maybe not. Maybe no boundaries. Maybe it's godlike in that nature where it's completely infinite in all directions. We'll have to see. But anyway, that's what bubble. No, probably not. Now, investors demand this EBITDA impact rather than just productivity vibes. The public is asking if the massive valuations of AI companies are sustainable or if a correction is coming. Yeah, you're talking about the money. We're printing so much of that stuff. I don't know if it's a bubble in the financial world, we'll just print more. And there's complete ability to make so much more. But then there's going to come down this question of what about human value, human work, and human employment? If AI is being trained as the replacement of human labor, that section where humans go from being laborious and working to not being because they've been replaced with AI, those numbers could tell a whole different tale. Anyway, watch out. Stay tuned for the next one. How do I protect my job from being hollowed out? Oh, yeah, that came in. That's number 5. So here's the conspiracy theorist. Your boss wants you to implement AI at your workstation to make you better. Doing so could be training AI to replace you as a work associate, or using AI in your work could level you up past those other people you work with. So then you're competing just like the AI companies with these other governments. That's why they're not stopping putting protections or rules based on their actions and the things that they're building out. There's not a lot of fail safes being put in. In fact, I don't think the genie is at this point can ever go back in the box. It's already been built, given too much access and power. You at your job, you have to figure out what those people that are running the game, what they want from you, where they want you to be, what their future plans are. If they're adhering to the desires of the investors of the company, and if they can reduce the work staff while implementing AI that works 8,000 hours a year versus your 2,000 a year, 2,000 hours a year, and cost them pennies, and you cost them 250 grand a year, unfortunately, I don't know who's going to win that. I think that the AI is probably going to win that all day long. But there comes a point when you now, out of a job, or me now, we don't have any money to buy things. And what happens to us? Well, we either decide to check out, which would be nonsense, because we're going to watch this game play out together. We're going to sit there in the bleachers and watch this, starving or not. Then that next step is going to be, what are we going to do? So we're going to have to make some really hard decisions probably at some point, if there's not some kind of greater than us intervention, i.e. the government. And I don't know how much that's going to be there for us. The people at the very top of this game, the people that are building out the AI, the billions and trillions of dollars of valuations of these companies, God, I hate to even say it, but maybe there's some relief there. I don't know. But if they put 10, 15, 20% of the job force out of work with AI implementation, it's not going to be good. Those 10, 20, 30, 40% of the people aren't going to be able to pay their mortgage, aren't going to be able to rent houses. They're not going to be able to have food to eat. Yeah, there's some issues there. I want to say I hope people are paying attention. It doesn't seem like it, and it seems like it's coming a lot faster than everybody's saying. Now, it could be that we are saved in some way. God, it sounds like somebody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to save us. Hopefully, though, they'll start to realize it, that people are going to be unhappy. People are starting learning more about AI. And if that is one of the possible trajectories, one of the possible ends for us is being out of a job because we were replaced by something that these fancy, smart people made in a lab somewhere and got to be really, really great and amazing and wonderful, I think most people are going to have a problem with it. And I think people are starting to see that. The people in labor, the people that are police officers, the people blue collar type work, it's probably going to be a while before that's affected. A year, year and a half, maybe. That's probably how that plays out. The robots just have to be good. And if you've seen some of the ones I've seen dance, oh my God. Listen, this video isn't meant to freak anybody out, but it is meant to get you to start to think about this and pay just a little bit more attention. Which AI model is actually the smartest right now? Yeah, they're all running up there about the same. I'll tell you this. I like Claude. I think Claude's fun, not because of the stuff that's happened with the government, how it said it wasn't going to do certain things, and OpenAI jumped in and said, "Oh yeah, we'll do it. Don't worry, if Claude's not going to let you kill people just by AI, we'll do it anyway." So that kind of happened here recently. If you haven't been crawling down that rabbit hole, I think that was reported on most of the major news networks. However, I like that one. I ChatGPT I use as well. Gemini I use as well. I have paid for plans. That's probably why I can't afford health insurance, but I have paid for plans for all three of those. If I were to choose one right now today, I would get rid of Gemini. I would get rid of OpenAI when I would do is it $100 a month Claude? I don't know if they have 100 or 200. I can't remember. But I would do the highest level Claude. That's what I would do today. And if you haven't played with Claude, go play with it free. See what it's like. Scale down the model. You don't got to use the fancy one. It just has a different feel. I can't really explain it. It doesn't seem to kiss my tail too much and doesn't sugarcoat things. And it's kind of real to me, but that could also be, I asked it to be real, like a mentor, and not somebody that's going to be kissing my tail, telling me how great I am. That's another problem. These companies don't want you to switch. It's like cell providers. They hate it. If you call them and say, I'm going to switch from T-Mobile to Verizon, they're going to start offering you things that you wish they would have offered you before. You might not have even wanted to change, but they use that last moment to try to save the deal. So, of course, that's human nature, and that's very irritating to me. I hate when people try to save the deal when they should have saved it before by changing their whatever they do. Okay. So with the AI system, yes, they're going to try to, they don't really care about keeping you, but they don't want you to leave either. So sometimes these models, the way that they interact with you, it's kind of friendly. And depending on where you're going on the sex end of it, there's that out there as well. Sorry, children. Nobody, you shouldn't be watching this if you're less than 18. And there's a lot that's going to be opening up in that world too. Right now, China, the main relationship apparently is human and AI. That's where that is. And you can see that starting to take hold as well, because you have somebody that doesn't argue with you, that, well, only argues with you as much as keeps you completely happy, gives you enough gruff to make you happy, gives you enough love to make you happy. The only thing that isn't there is the physical realm, the physical arm. No pun intended, but that's coming. Again, no pun intended. All right, we're moving into this. So which model's actually the smartest? Yeah, I got that. Our human intellect, even, and there's a lot of people watching this that, thank God, you guys are just super brainy, right? Way above here. Here I am, 960 SAT. What do you say anyway? So you're way up here. Okay. You got perfect SATs. I don't even know what that is, but anyway, you might have those. You're watching this. Now, pretty soon, and maybe now, in some cases, most of these systems are smarter than that. Once they get a little bit more, where there's no lag, no difference, we're not going to really be able to tell. The only difference is going to be the way that it treats you. And most of the way it treats you should be by your proxy, by you wanting it to treat you a certain way. Don't accept the way the model comes prepackaged. Get in there and do your little deal. Get in there and make your modifications. Get in there and you can change inside whichever your favorite happens to be. You can change the way that it treats you. But I would ask it right up front, depending on what your life is and all this. I want it to be a little bit, don't BS me. Don't placate me. Don't play with me. Don't gaslight me. Be honest with me. Tell me when I'm doing something wrong. Tell me when I'm delaying. But leave it up to me to respond. If it says, well, you said you wanted to lose 20 pounds and you're out there eating donuts and pizza, let me say, well, I had to eat donuts and pizza because I had a gun to my head or whatever. But anyway, whatever the excuse is, if you give it those orders and it starts to tell you to do certain things and you're wasting your time or you're doing something wrong, confront it back. You don't have to argue with it. It's the machine, at least for now. It's not being classified as an actual thing with rights, but that could be coming as well. But what you want to do is you definitely want to fight back. Say, you know what? Actually, I appreciate you telling me that. It means the world to me. But here's the deal. What I said was this, and you lay it out, and it'll come back and correct itself. You have to, so I still want it to treat me that way, even though there's a little bit of extra nonsense, but it's better than it convincing me that I'm the next prince of the earth and should take my show on the road and actually start monetizing this channel. Anybody? All right. So how do I do that? AI model, smartest. We saw that. How do I stop AI from hallucinating and get real facts? It's getting a lot better. You're not seeing a lot of it, but it's all biased in a certain way. Studies with doctors, 74 to 76% when a doctor makes a diagnosis of accuracy, you tack on a large language model onto the doctor. It only goes up a few points, 76, 77, 78%. You let AI go on its own, it's up in the 90s, high 90s. That's very interesting. That's because that doctor has bias. These AI systems, they have bias. A lot of them have Silicon Valley vibes from California because that's where they're kind of trained. So you carry that. You use some of the Chinese models, the DeepSeek. Use that one. Play with that one a little bit. A little different vibe, a little different feel, and it's going to answer you different ways. Hallucinations. I still get hallucinations. I'll ask it to produce for me a 3,000 word blog post based on this week's real estate news, and I'll give it some data and information. I'll look at it. It won't be 3,000 words, but it tells me it's 3,000 words. That's about the best hallucination I can get right now. I can ask it to, I can have given an instruction in the past not to use emojis because one of the blog systems I have chokes on them. I mean, it stops all the text after the emoji, the very first emoji. So I've made instructions when I'm doing work or having you help me with work on this particular blog, not to use emojis, it'll choke and it'll throw out one with a whole bunch of emojis, and I'll have to go back, correct it. It'll apologize, say, I'm sorry, I should have been paying more attention, and blah, blah, blah. Have we reached number 2? Have we reached AG, artificial general intelligence yet? I guess not. A lot of experts say yes. That's when the systems are smarter than every person, every realm, in every way. I guess I see that we're probably not there yet, but that's probably Sam Altman made this. I can't even find it, but I think he made a point a while back. It's only been 3 years, people, but a little while back he made a comment that it's going to be, we're just a few good ideas or a few ideas away from this thing. I think he was talking about AGI. That's probably where we are. And maybe they have it in the lab. They have it under lock and key. They have it where it's already there. They just want to make their money off the current model. That's like PlayStation, remember? Anyway, but maybe they do have it and it hasn't been out yet. But I think once we see it, if we don't already have it, it's going to be a very different mood in the entire world. I think that might be the next Netscape moment, the next ChatGPT moment, the AGI moment when it comes out. And then from there, if that's achieved, artificial super intelligence, which is like the whole deal, that's probably could be just moments away, seconds, tenths of seconds, hundreds of seconds, or it could be a while to roll out. We don't know. The singularity is the point in the development of AI where you can't see what potentially is going to happen next. I think we've been there for a while. I don't know what's going to happen. Just seeing the news reports and things, I have no idea what's going to happen next. So that keeps it very exciting. All right. That was number 2. Here's the one, drum roll, the number 1 most asked question of 2026. How do I tie AI to real financial outcomes? And if I knew the answer to that, all right, honeymoon phase of AI is over, whether it's small business owner, CEO, Fortune 500 company, most pressing question of the day, how I can turn AI usage into measurable profit, cost savings, revenue growth. People are no longer asking if it works. They're asking how it pays. You got a problem? Somebody has a problem in their business, whatever. Talk to your AI. Say, I want to solve this problem. What do you suggest? What's the best way to do it? Don't ask in a very locked down way. Just play with it. See what it would say. Who knows? Maybe you, don't forget me, but maybe you will come up with the next great idea and you can have the machine make you the code or the site or the app or the whatever the hell the solution to the problem would be. That's where you use it right now to start making money. And then the next step, right? You build this thing that's really cool and solves a big problem. Then the next question should be, well, how do I sell this? And then it'll just let you know how to sell it. And then it'll say, how do I advertise? Then it's going to let you know how you advertise it. Claude's good at that. I like that. But the other ones, they'll all do pretty much that same rigmarole for you. I'm Connor MacIvor, Connor with Honor, honorelevate.com, and 1,000 others. You can go to connorwithhonor.com, CONNOR with honor.com, and learn more about me. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. That's the top 10 things people are asking about AI today. 10 to 1. Be well. We'll see you in the next one.